Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Launch Your Business. I'm Stephanie Bader. I'm a gold level here with doTERRA, and I am here to help you out as we get and help you launch your business with doTERRA a little better and help you just have a smoother transition. I'm going to share my screen tonight with just a picture that I have because it's kind of what we're going to be talking about. If you've been here and if you've talked to me or been on any of our calls before, you've heard me talk about the law of the harvest and how that if you are consistent in what you do and how you do your rainmaker activities, you will reap a harvest. It's just the way it is. It's not a network marketing thing. It is just a principle in life that I actually learned when I did the Share Success program back 3.5, 4 years ago. I did a 90-day program that Share Success offered back then. And this was some content that was brought into their success system by the Goddards and Tiffany Peterson. And it's been reiterated to me by different success coaches along the way. But it talks about that, even farmers, they do this consistent, they plant their seeds and then they consistently go out and nourish, water, and take care of their soil and the seeds that they plant. And by doing so, they have a harvest. If you do that with your network marketing and the team that you have, you will grow and you will be successful in your business. And I am a firm believer that that is a true statement because I've seen it happen in my own business. So I want to encourage you all to use that. But, even when you do that type of thing, sometimes that can get a little frustrating because you're thinking, oh, I am doing all those rainmaker activities. And, if you don't know what a rainmaker activity is, it's going out and presenting, inviting, enrolling people into your business. And those are all, if you're on the Share Success plan and you're doing those things, it's part of that pipes type activities, the IPE. But I want to focus really on the types of soil that you're going to be doing. The types of soil you want to plant these seeds in. Because really and truthfully, that can make all the difference. So before I get into the types of soil, which you can see the picture here, we're going to talk about this. I want to take a couple broad statements before we get into this. One, I want you to always consider that you're gonna tell your message to everybody. Your message to doTERRA. You don't really want to go in and prejudge and say, well, this person's definitely not somebody that I would ever share oils with. And then you give your reason that you wouldn't do it, and it's something that you assume about that person. You tell the message of your doTERRA message to them. If the oils have changed your life in some way, then I believe you really do have, an obligation to share that message to other people. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to help somebody else change their life as well? It's kind of like saying, I have this great product, but I'm going to hoard it for myself because there's not enough for you. And that's just not what we do. And number two, when you share your message, be enthusiastic about it. Nobody really wants to buy something from Eeyore. So if I had the best glass of water and it was so refreshing and so wonderful, but I took a drink and I was like, this is awesome. Yay. Are you really going to be excited about taking a glass of water? No, absolutely not. You're going to be like, what's wrong with it? You're going to be thinking to yourself, I'll pass. But if you're thinking, oh, if I take a drink and I'm like, oh, this is so awesome, this is so wonderful, I love it, you may want some too. Now, I'm not saying you have to be, super cheerleader and super rah, 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 but if you are out sharing an oil and you're like, oh, wild orange is so awesome. I love it. It just is really uplifting. That's going to convey a really different message than wild orange is super uplifting. It makes you really happy. I mean, think about how your words convey. You could say the same thing, but the tone and the delivery of it can be completely different. So those are two of the overwhelming statements, or the overall statements that I want to put out there. One, share your message with everybody. You don't know who you're going to talk to and who could refer back to you. And two, be enthusiastic. I'm going to have some of my water. But when you go out, I want you to think about the types of people that you're going to talk to. You'll often hear that there is, you'll hear different statistics, but basically there's like those 20% of the people who are just going to do whatever they're like the you had me at hello people. There's the 20% that aren't going to be your people at all. And then there's like the 60% that, well, you might have to work to do and, work to get. And they all kind of fit into these different types of soil, which sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? But let's look at it. So those 20% that you had at hello, those are the good soil people. You throw the seed out there, hey, I've got an oil. They say, hey, give me that oil. I love it. They buy, everything's great. They take their oils, they continue to buy, and they grow and flourish as a customer. It's fruitful. It produces. It's something that it's pretty easy. You don't have to do very much to get it to grow because, well, kind of like our oils and how they grow in their natural environment better, people who are already open to the message of natural health, essential oils, they're already looking for you and they were just waiting for you to show up in their life. They are already open, fertile soil. You don't have to do much but have the stuff with you. And then there's that 20% who basically is kind of like throwing a seed onto a sidewalk or to a street. And you are dealing with them, and more than likely they're going to get blown away in the wind. Birds are going to pick them up. They're just not going to grow because really there's no soil there for that seed to ever take root. Now, going back to that original statement, it's not like you don't want to share your message here. What I'm saying here about this person is you don't want to spend a ton of time trying to convince this person that they need your product. Why? Because they may be that 20% that's just not going to be your people. I'm going to put this little hint or this little tip in there though. Pavement cracks. Seeds can get in and things can grow where those seeds can get in or where those cracks are. So this is where knowing how to ask a really good question in a sales conversation could potentially change this person's life. Because being able to ask good questions is far better than ever giving great, smart answers. So knowing how to do a good, solid question. How long is it, what, I'm trying to think of, how are you interested in natural solutions? That's a great opening line. But more than likely, somebody that is a sidewalk, we're going to call them pavement, they're probably going to say no. Do you have any health challenges that you might want to be taken care of with a more natural approach? That might dig a little deeper to them where they start thinking, that might be something I might be looking at. Because if they're with you and they're around you and they're asking about oils, well, there's some reason they're there. And there's some reason they're interested, but they still may not, there still may be, hard pavement and there's still a big wall there that, they're just not open to it yet. But asking a good solid question may break that open and get you into where there's some soil beneath. You just may have to break through the concrete. But you're going to have to learn how to ask really good questions, such as, do you have any health concerns? How long have those health concerns been an issue for you? And where would you like to be in 1 year, 5 years, so on and so forth? And if they're open to that, if they're open to sharing those type of things, then you say, well, what's going to take you from today to that 1 year, 2 year, 3 year period? I can show you some items, some products that we have that can help you with that. How committed are you to making this change? And you let them talk themselves through it. This is how you might get somebody that's a pavement. It's going to work the same way with a rocky and a thorny path, but it's going to be a lot more difficult. So like I said, if you're dealing with somebody who's extremely against the idea of natural solutions, don't get frustrated and spend a ton of time with somebody like this. They're probably just not your people. The next two types of soils are kind of similar, rocky or thorny. These are types of people who, maybe they just had, thorny people. They could be really struggling and looking for natural solutions, but they're surrounded by people who want to, they want to keep them right where they are. They don't want to allow them to help themselves and grow into something bigger. So they want to choke out that growth and keep them stuck right where they are. Because if that person grows and becomes something different, well then what's going to happen to those thorns? They're going to get obliterated by that new growth mindset. So you, as somebody trying to help them, may have to help that person transplant themselves. And that transplanting process may look like, hey, I can help you, and I can help put you into a new group of people who will help you thrive and learn natural solutions in a whole new way. Let me introduce you to a whole new group of people. And you help them become part of a new tribe of people where they aren't surrounded by people who are like, that's stupid, those are crazy, what are you, voodoo artists, blah, blah, blah. But know that these people are also going to have that, they're going to go back to those group of people and they're going to struggle and they're going to end up getting pushback. So you're going to have to be a big support to that group. Otherwise, the use of their oils could die off. Let's see, we have a question. And then rocky people. They're in rocky soils. Maybe they have a lot of different things going on in their life. But oftentimes when you deal with people who are in a rocky, they're in rocky soil, these are often the types of people that, I don't have the money, the oils are too expensive. They always are hitting a hard place. And that hard place will look like an excuse. And it will keep them from growing and thriving. They have the desire, but they're not rooted to be successful. They're not rooted to really get themselves into a higher level of health. So they can never take root to really grow. So you have to help them say, okay, let me help you remove these rocks. Let me show you different ways that we can remove these blocks or rocks out of your way so that you can have this experience and have these oils and thrive, so that you can become somebody who's in fertile soil. You're going to get out of that 60%, you're going to get, if you have good sales skills, you're going to get a good majority of them by being in doTERRA, because that's just the nature of our business and the nature of our customer, wholesale customer and wellness advocate setup. Because we don't have to go out and sell them, you can have happy customers that are in there, but you have to continue to nourish those customers that are in that thorny and stony ground, as well as the good soil. Just know that those will be your people. That'll be the majority. Those three types of soil are probably going to be a good portion of your team.
Headline.
The people in that are on the sidewalk, you're just going to, don't waste your time. It's not that you're wasting your time, but don't fret over the people who just aren't going to be walking the path with you. They're walking a different path. We're walking a nature path. Okay? This also can be translated once you become a leader in doTERRA and you have leaders on your team, other people that are trying to build the business. They can be great customers, but they will never turn into leaders, true leaders on the team. They will become people that are just, pathways. They'll be sidewalks. They'll say they really want to do it, but the seed will never get planted to do the training, to go out and share, to take the actions that are needed to take so that they can be successful, so that they can take foot and thrive. Whereas in fertile soil, you'll have people that are self-starters. They don't have excuses. They don't, they just do all the things and they become a successful business owner and take very little, they take very little need. They just know what they're doing. But a good majority of your team will end up being thorny and rocky because they have families, they have other jobs, and they're trying to do this with the time constraints and the busy lives that we have. So as a leader, you have to say, okay, I understand what's going on, and talk to them and say, okay, here's what you have. Let me help you get out of this thorny situation. Let me make it easier. Let me show you some tips, some best practices that'll help you so you don't feel so suffocated. Or let me help you remove some of these rocks so that you can thrive better. One of the biggest things in the rocky soil and the thorny soil is usually a personal development issue. Once they start into the personal development issue, they can see, hey, a lot of these blocks tend to be self-inflicted. But often it has to be seen from somebody else who tries to do it and remove it. Now, removing rocks and thorns is often very painful, especially as you grow into this leadership role. So it can be very hard, especially when a upline is trying to help you through that process. Remove thorns, because the thorns and the rocks could be really deep. I mean, you can have some really big boulders or really big thorns stuck in your side, and they hurt when you remove them. But if they lead you to fertile soil where you grow better, you have to ask yourself, is it worth the work? But you as the leader and the person that you're helping have to make that decision. So I thought this was a really interesting graphic and a really good lesson in how to kind of look at people in a very different light. Because as you spread your message, you're spreading the message of doTERRA out to everyone. But you have to know that it's not going to take root everywhere. And it's not going to be easy, and not everybody's going to be the self-starter. You're going to have to help people along the way in many, many cases. And this is just mentally for me, it made it a really cool graphic to say, okay, this person may be rocky, this person may be thorny, and I can help them when I can see this. But I have to be able to maybe identify them a little better and then give them the right wording. How can I best support you to remove these blocks? How can I best support you to get out of this suffocating situation? Whether they be a customer, a leader, a friend, or just trying to overcome a health challenge. Because you really do, no matter what you're trying to accomplish, whether you're supporting your customer or supporting your leader, you really want to keep them in the 3 of the 4 categories. If they're starting out as thorny, rocky, or good soil, you want to keep them there and let them grow into fertile soil. You don't ever want them to get to the point where they're like, yep, I hit the sidewalk and I'm walking. Because that's when your teams die and become destroyed and you don't have any more growth. Thorny, rocky, and good soil all can continue to grow and thrive as long as you continue to do your consistent growth mindset type activities. You'll make mistakes. It's not going to be perfect and it may not grow as fast as you want. But if you keep them in the 3 of the 4 categories here, you will be able to get things moving. Does that help anybody? Does that make any sense to everybody? Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, it's really good.
But I know a lot of people will get very, they'll get very focused on somebody who they just really think would be benefiting from the oils or the products, but they're really somebody who's just completely not interested. And it's because they're a sidewalk, they're pavement. And until that person, it's kind of like somebody who's, they're just not interested. Until they're interested in doing what you're doing, it doesn't matter. Just go and share your message without such a focus on the outcome. And you will find that you will find more people who are, rocky or thorny or even fertile soil if you're focused more on that and just focused on sharing the message. But if you keep coming up against people who are sidewalks, let them go. And then, ask them for referrals. Say, hey, you may not be interested in that, but do you know anybody else who is? Who might be? And they may be willing, because if they start to see other people who are, that may also change whether or not there's a crack there. They may have had a very bad experience with a multi-level marketing type situation that keeps them from ever trying it again. It may, you never know why people will put up a wall that keeps them from being open. That's why asking good questions will always be a better approach than to talk to somebody. So asking them, like I said, asking them, do you have any health concerns? How long has it been a problem? Because when they have to quantify their thing, how much does it cost you? That's another good one. How much does this health challenge cost you in time, in money, in fulfillment, in joy? When you hit those things on the head and they have to quantify those type of things, that's when you will start to hit them with, this is really impacting, if it's sleep. How long has sleep been a problem for you? Oh, and then they start to talk it through, and then you have a conversation opener, even to somebody who's pavement. They still may not join, and that's okay, but at least you got them thinking and the seeds planted a little deeper.
This whole concept of sowing in different types of soil is very biblical.
Yeah.
Good points.
Well, hopefully it's helpful. So take it, think about it, and think of how you can use it over the next week or so. Especially since we're going to be launching out the spoil campaign on not Monday, but next Monday. And you're going to see that I ask a lot of that type of question. And I try and get that kind of interaction back to get people talking about their issue instead of, this is how it helped me. I want to see how it's going to help them. When you shift it to them, it's not about you, it changes the game in how they will respond to your message in general. And quite frankly, think about it. Here's another overwhelming, this is another point that I was thinking about earlier today. When you look on Facebook or Instagram or anything else, and you think of any other kind of company, you know, when you talk to somebody, you may think of all the things that our stuff could help them with by just looking at them and knowing who they are. You know, I know you don't sleep well. I know you could use our face care system because I'm looking at your skin. And, oh, you could probably use, you know, the toothpaste, you know, just by looking at somebody. And so much of other companies, you know, you need better makeup, you need better skincare, and you need better weight loss. That's all looking at somebody from the outside and telling them how to be better from the outside in. And I think people are really tired of that. I think they're tired of being told you need to look this way and you need to behave this way so that you fit in.
Yeah.
I think when we approach it from the aspect of you tell me how you want to feel and how you want to experience life, and then I will tell you what products we have. You change the game and you are very different.
Yeah.
Because it stops being about how you see them and it starts being about how they see themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I don't really care. I had somebody tell me straight up, you need our skincare system because I think your skin could look better. And I looked at her and I said, my skin looks better than yours. Thanks, but no thanks. And I thought that was probably one of the rudest sales pitches I've ever heard.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, insulting a person up front is not a way to open
It's
a conversation.
not a way to do it. Had she said, what skin concerns do you have? Then she switched it to that. And I said, I don't really have any. I get to take care of them with my own products. And she kept digging and digging about how I needed to do all this stuff. And it was like, never mind. You've already insulted me and told me I needed to look better and lose weight. And I needed to do it with your product. And telling people how they need to feel and how they need to be is really not what we need to be doing. We need to be asking people how they want to experience life. So that's my thought, at least. It's just my little brain, and watching the world around us, I think more people need to be asked, how do you want to feel?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I just think that would be a game changer. It would make everybody very different. So, well, if there's no other questions, we'll end it for this evening. And go forth and share. Have fun. Look around and see the people who are, and figure out kind of which soil they are and see how you can help them either remove some rocks, or get rid of the thorns and maybe replant them into more fertile soil. But thanks for joining me, and I hope you all have a fantastic night.
Thanks, Steph.
Thanks, Steph.